What's up guys, I'm Maths here, and today we're looking at inequalities. Now we've got OCR's question first, which is a bit of a more basic question. Then we've got some slightly harder ones later on. So first thing we need to know about inequalities is, well, what are the signs? Well, a quarter and 0.25 here are equal, so we just put an equals there. Okay, they're the same thing. With 2/3 though, this is a calculator paper, so what you can do is you can just do 2 divided by 3, and it comes up as 0.66666, blah, blah, blah. So that is actually more than 0.66. So which one do we use? Well, it's this one here. And the reason it's this one, and there's loads of different ways of remembering this. I mean, I always remember it as the larger side is the larger number. Some people think of it as the crocodile always eats the bigger number. Whichever way helps you, but you've got to make sure you know which way around they need to be. 2 to the power 3 is 2 times 2 times 2. And again, you've got a calculator, so you can just type it in, and that would be 8. And 8 is greater than 6. So you might be fooled into thinking that this one's the other way around, but actually it's the same way around. Now, inequalities in a number line. This is quite tricky, and for a question 4, I don't know, maybe it's optimistic. So we need to first of all put x down, and we also need to put the number that is circled, so that would be 2. Now we need to figure out what inequality goes there. So have a look at all of these numbers here that represent x. So x is all of these numbers here. It can be any of them. Well, they're all bigger than 2. So we say x is greater than 2. Now, if that dot is filled in like that, then it will have a line underneath it like that. But it's not filled in, so there's no line underneath it. Next up is our Edexcel question. So we've got a similar question here, but this time we've got to actually draw the inequality. So it says that x is less than 4. So we first of all put a circle at 4. We ask ourselves, can it be equal to 4? Well, no, because there's no line underneath the inequality. So we leave it as a hollow dot. And then from that point, we draw a line going downwards because it's less than 4. And we just make that line an arrow. Simple as that. Next, it says that we've got another inequality, that y is greater than 3 and less than or equal to 7. So we've got to write down the possible values of y. Now, there are infinite possible values, but it says it must be an integer. An integer just means a whole number. So it's going to be greater than 3. So that would be 4, 5, 6. But it can equal 7. That's what that line means. So it's also going to include 7. Right. Next we've got a solving question. So I'm just going to write it out a bit bigger, just so we can all see it a bit easier. And I'm going to put my lines in here. Let's just put our lines in. Now there is a rule with this. That when you've got x's on both sides, you always deal with the smaller amount of x. So we've got 3x on the left hand side and x on the right hand side. So I'm going to deal with the x because it's a smaller amount. And to get rid of it from that side, I'm going to take away x from both sides. So we've got 2x plus 5 is greater or equal to 17. Now, you might notice that I'm doing this the same way as I would do just a normal equation with an equal sign there. And that's absolutely right. There's one exception to that. But generally speaking, when you're working this out, do it exactly the same as when it's equal there. But try not, or definitely don't put an equals there. And I've seen students do that before. And some exams have given 0 marks if there's an equals there, because they're so used to practicing it with an equals there. Now I'm going to get rid of that plus 5, so take away 5 from both sides, so that would be 12, and then finally I'm just going to divide by 2 to get rid of that times 2 there. We've got x is greater than or equal to 6. Last up is our AQA question, and this is kind of similar with solving. It's just it's annoying numbers. So I'm just going to rewrite it like I did before and put my lines in. Okay, so I'm gonna take away the 3 first because we need to understand what's going on with this. In fact, if you've got a negative x, the best thing to do here is add the half x both sides, but I'm going to take away that 3 because there's a rule here that we need to understand when it comes to inequalities. So 8 take away 3 is 5. That's minus a half x. Okay, so what I can do now is times both sides by 2 to get rid of that half. Because when you've got a half, you can just times it by 2 to get rid of it. And we've got minus x. Right. So, with this, what I can do is times both sides by minus 1, and that will get rid of that minus on the x, because we need x to not have a minus on it. But there's a rule, and this is the only rule that is the difference between when you've got inequalities and when you've just got normal equations. Whenever you times or divide by a negative, you must flip the inequality. You have to. And I'll go for an example of why in a second. So it becomes that. And when you switch it around the other way, you get that. So let's figure out why that has to happen. So let's just think of any 2 numbers. So 2 is less than 3. Okay. If you imagine that I times both sides by minus 1, just like I did before, all that does is changes the sign. And I didn't flip it. That's saying that minus 2 is less than minus 3. Well, let's have a look at our number line. Okay, so we've got 0 here. And we've got minus 1, minus 2, minus 3. Well, no, minus 2 is bigger than minus 3. So that doesn't make any sense at all. That's completely wrong. That's why we have to flip that sign. It has to be the other way around. So let's just move that the other way around. So it has to be this way around. So whenever you're timesing or dividing by a negative, you must flip the inequality. Well, I hope you found today's video useful. It's a slightly shorter one. Most of our videos are longer than this, but that's okay. If you did like it, please click like. Keep your comments coming in. Any suggestions of stuff you want us to do after our summer school finishes is going to be graciously received. Otherwise, if you want to see more from us, we release videos every single weekday, Monday to Friday. Just click subscribe, click the bell icon, make sure you get all the videos straight to your inbox. If you haven't already, which I'm sure you have, check out our website onmaths.com, which is packed full of loads and loads of free resources for you to try out, and there'll be a card that magically appears at the top of the screen now to take you straight there. Otherwise, thank you very much, and I'll see you tomorrow.